then the very first thing that's going to happen is you should be receiving an email. It's going to contain a URL or a hyperlink, and you're going to click on that. And when you do, it's going to take you to a page that looks like this. It will ask you for an authorization code. That code will be the last 4 digits of your social security number. So if you're taking notes, definitely write that one down. It will ask you to create a brand new password and confirm it. Now, inside of this little pop-out box, you're going to see that it says it's 12 characters, at least 1 lowercase alpha, 1 uppercase alpha, 1 numeric, and 1 special character. It's also going to ask you to do a challenge question. So you're going to drop down on a pick list. You'll select the challenge question that makes the most sense to you. There's about 7 to choose from. And then you're going to put in your challenge answer, confirm it. Now, only those things that have an asterisk are required, but it does give you an opportunity to put in your mobile number. And I like that because it allows me, if I forget my password, to click on forgotten password, and then it's going to send me a code texted to my phone where I just touch and get right back in and create a new password. So it's really easy, but that is not a requirement. And then all you're going to do is click continue. If you guys land on a page that looks something like this, do me a favor and hit the button that says try our new look, because that is your web app. And I am in now as an employee. So whenever you first log in, this being a web app, meaning it's going to conform or adapt to whatever device you hold in your hand, I want to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to go up to the top and grab my phone simulator. And now I'm looking at this on a phone. If I needed to create a punch, it's easy breezy. I touch my app on my home screen and I open up there. And then I just simply touch the clock with my finger, the little clock icon with my finger, and I get the quick punch lightning bolt. And now I just create a punch. The system knows if we're in or if we're out, so you don't have to change anything. It's just touching and then touch I'm done. And voila, you have created yourself a punch in or out. So what do I mean by in or out? The system refreshes every single night at 12 o'clock a.m. So if I come in at 12:01 and I touch my clock icon and I create a punch, it knows that's my first punch in. If I do it again in 10 minutes, it knows that's my next punch out. And so it would clock me in at 12:01. It would clock me out at 12:10. If you're on an iPad, it will look more like, let's go to this iPad Pro 11. It'll look a little bit more like this. Okay, I'm going to close the simulator and go back to a laptop view. Notice up here at the top, recently visited, direct deposits, time off, and my calendar. So before you guys walked in, I had gone through a couple of things, but now we're going to go back through it. The first thing I'm going to tell you is when you're on a laptop, notice that the clock icon is up on the top left corner now. If I touch that, I can see my lightning bolt where I would come in and create my punch. If you guys do a submit missing punch, which we've talked about, it will look like a little raffle ticket. You're going to left mouse click on that. And then you would put in whatever date, maybe it is today, and you wanted to put in a missing punch. Let's say I went out at lunch at 12 p.m. And then for my notes, I would just say, I forgot to punch out at 12 o'clock p.m. and then save it. And now what happens is that goes over to my manager, and all they have to do is approve or reject that punch. So if I forget to punch in, I can just have communication with my manager within the system, and it makes it easy for them because it's just a radio button. I approve or either I reject. Also, you're going to notice that down the left-hand side, this menu tree, I have my time and attendance, time card, my calendar, and time off. It's the same things that you see here with less touch points, because first I have to touch and open, then I would have to touch and open. Whereas here, it's already presented to me and all I have to do is touch and open. So this is my time card. This is what your time card is going to look like. On the 29th, I was in at 10, I was out at 5. This is a modified time. Anytime a manager helps you with your time card, you're going to see the words modified time, because Maybe you submitted a missing punch and they had to approve it. Therefore, you and that manager has modified your original punch in. So now, instead of it saying 10:16, whenever you remember to punch in today, it's going to actually move that punch to 8 o'clock. It's been modified. So anytime that you see the words modified, just know it's because the manager has made a change to your time card. Now, when I come down here to the 6th, I can see that I was in at 6:18. I was out at 6:37, and then I was back in at 6:38. Now, if I expand these, it lets me see even what department I was in. And you guys are probably going to be assigned to your department. If you needed to see that, you can see that. And if I needed to submit a missing punch, I can also do that from the bottom. If I were to click on missing punch, it's going to open up the page that looks identical to when I selected the missing punch icon, and it functions the same way. And then I can also see my calendar and time off across the top. So if I go to my calendar, I can see that I have my holidays presented here. If I go into January, I can also see that I have my holidays presented here. If I need to ask for time off, I wouldn't do it from here. I'm going to go over to time off, and then I'm going to click on the time off button. I'm then going to drop down and select the absence policy that I need. I can see my available hours before and after the request. So I'm going to say that I'm asking for the 29th off. Notice this went to Nan, meaning I don't know yet. Why does it not know yet? Because I have not told it how many hours I want yet. When I tell the system I want 8 hours, it changed to I have 32 hours after this request. And if you want to, you can leave notes for your manager as well. And then you just submit. You're going to get a green confirmation bar across the top. We have something called workflows built, and that means that a confirmation is going to go over to your manager and sometimes even the admin. So maybe this would even go to Lori, and it will say you have pending time off request. And then they click on that link and it drives them to the place where they can approve it. When you have pending time off, you guys, you can come here to this time off, and let's go home again and just see where I'm at. Whenever you log in and you see time off here, you can touch that with your finger. Scroll down to where you see the pending request. And then here you're going to touch the little ellipses. Some people call it a hamburger. And you can only delete. So you're not going to be able to edit that. If you want to keep the 29th and maybe you want to change that to just half a day, let your manager know. They can approve it and then they can edit it. But for right now, all we can do is click and delete it because we've decided that we don't want to take it. For direct deposits, add new, and then you would put in your routing and your account number. You would then select if it's checking or savings. Whenever you first add one, you're going to see the words remaining net, meaning all of this money after taxes and deductions, or it will go to this account. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. But after you've started adding accounts, it's going to ask you, are you wanting to add a flat dollar amount, meaning I want to put in $20, and you can select a frequency. You're not stuck with every pay. So maybe you only want to send money on the first and fourth pays of the month. That's fine. You can do that. Or maybe you only want to send this on the first or the second or third or fourth pay of the month. That's fine too. And then you're just going to select the word save. So I'm first sending money here. Secondly, I'm sending money here. And then this one, if I hit edit, I'm going to see that it has remaining net every pay. So while you can designate a flat amount of money or a percentage of money to go to the other accounts, whether it's checking or savings, you need to at least have one of them say that it's going to have the remaining net go every pay. Even if you just have one, set it up like that, okay? And here we notice that we have pay history, year-end tax form, and tax updates. So if I want my pay stub, I'm going to click on pay history. And now if I want just the pay period between November 11th and the 25th of this year, I could just click download my pay stub. But if I want multiples, I could expand my drop-down arrow, click on multiple pay stubs, and now I'm going to tick a box beside each of these, and then I'm going to download. When I download, it's going to put all of those into one PDF, which makes it really nice. I could also expand as long as you guys process with us. They're not going to purge your records. So you'll notice that Warren has been in my employment since 2010. So he was actually able to go all the way back to December the 16th through the 31st of 2010. And now he can get his pay stubs from here. This is my filing status. It shows me that for this pay period, I am filing married for my federal. I'm filing married separately for state. So that's federal, that's state. If I expand memo calculations, this is my employer paid portions of a thing. So employee deductions, this is what you've elected to have deducted from your check. And then I also see my time off here. So this is my PTO and my sick, hours accrued. And then this is the 2 checking accounts that I have here in my direct deposit. When it's time for you to get your W-2s, all you have to do is click on year-end tax forms. And I'll see here's my 2021 W-2. I just click on it, say okay. And now let's talk about those tax updates. Touch this with your finger if you're on your phone. If you're on a laptop, then you can left mouse click on that. So I'm going to click on start. So I'm going to go ahead and touch or either click on continue. You'll notice here that we have some options. So either foreign earned income, non-resident alien. I could see this in Spanish if I wanted. So I would just tell the system I want to start in Spanish, but I'm just going to click on start. I'm going to answer the questions that it's asking me, and then keep hitting next. When you're finished, you're going to tick the box that you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You're going to put in the last 4 digits of your social security number, and then you're going to submit the form. Now, what will happen for you after that is automatically, whatever state you're associated with, that form is going to pop up. Again, in my case, it's a G4. If you live in a state that doesn't have one, don't worry about it. You're just going to be finished. You're not going to see anything else at all. And then I also wanted to show you that you do have the forms and instructions tab. This lets you see the form and what it looks like and tells you some instructions on how to use it. And then once you're finished, it lets you see everything that you have filled out. I wanted to talk to you about the personal tile and the documents. Every now and then, our employer is going to need us to upload copies of a driver's license or maybe copies of a certification or something like that. So this is where you're going to go to do that. Right now, I'm under documents. If I were to go to personal and click on documents, it would drive me here. You can see that I'm on documents here at the top and also here. And you watch me go from home. I went to personal and clicked on documents. So you have 3 different ways to get here. You do is click on upload document, choose the file, hit next, and it's going to place that file right here. For your contacts, this is your emergency contacts. So manage contacts is where I would go. I can see my beneficiaries, my dependents, and who am I supposed to call in case of an emergency. If I needed to add someone, I would select add new. From my relationship, I just drop down and I'm able to determine who am I entering this information for. If this is my grandfather, first and last name, and then these tick boxes let the administrator know if this person is an emergency contact, a beneficiary, a dependent. And you'll also notice that if someone were to pass away, then you could select that that person has passed. Okay. Any changes that you make, you just select save. And you would just put in the fields. That's all you have to do. Some of these are drop-down pick lists. If I hit close, it takes me back to my main page here. This is also dependents, so I could manage just my dependents. I can also manage just my beneficiaries from here if I wanted to. So that is the personal information page. The messages page. So now that I'm looking at my messages page, I can see that I have an employee handbook. If I click on this, it's going to download my handbook for me. You may be asked to tick a box stating that you have received, read, understood, and now you're going to electronically sign for your handbook. Notice that I have a bell and it has the number 3 in it. I can click on the bell here, or I could have clicked on the notification view. And now you can see that I've updated my direct deposit. My pay stub's ready. Notice here I have preferences and profile. If I expand this ellipsis again, I have my profile and I have my preferences. I could click here and go to profile, or I could have also done that in the drop-down menu tree over to the right. I can change my preferred name. Pronouns are in here, my mobile number. This is where my password and my challenge question are housed though. So if you're taking notes, please remember, if you need to change your password, you have to go to profile to do that. Preferences are just my electronic consents. That's what this is. And if I wanted to view it, I could.